Really interesting news in the NBA. Daryl Morey is soon to join the Philadelphia 76ers as the president of basketball operations, meaning Elton Brand stays as the GM. Daryl Morey wheels and deals and flips rosters routinely. Jalen, what do you think this could mean for the Sixers roster?
I think this is a great hire for Philly. The one thing that Daryl was able to do in Houston was acquire James Harden when he was the sixth man in OKC, turn him into a max player and an MVP candidate. The genius of Mike D'Antoni was to put the ball in James Harden's hands when he was playing like a traditional shooting guard, and then he became a 30-point scorer that could also lead the league in assists. But what Daryl Morey was not able to do, Jacoby, is show that his micro ball can actually win when it mattered the most. And they had a couple of times in a couple of playoff series where that style fizzled out. So now you put him in Philadelphia, you totally gutted the Rockets roster. So now if you're Daryl Morey, what moves can you initially make to change the dynamics of Philadelphia instantly? And they're gonna be looking at Joel Embiid versus Ben Simmons. If I'm Daryl Morey, I try to find a way to parlay Joel Embiid for Russell Westbrook and or PJ Tucker. In Houston, they're going to have to play more traditionally. So therefore, you have James with the ball on the perimeter, and you have Embiid as his big. In the Eastern Conference, you have two guys in Ben Simmons and Russell Westbrook that no one is ever going to stop from getting to the basket.
Nope.
No one. Both of those guys have found ways to not be able to shoot jump shots and still basically flirt with triple doubles, and Russell's been an MVP of the league. And you say, well, that's not Morey ball. Morey ball is actually also getting layups and dunks and getting to the free throw line. Those two guys do that too. We get so enamored in the three-point shot. You got to remember, they played against the Golden State Warriors and missed 27 in a row when it mattered the most. You can't solely rely on the three. So if you got two of those guys that can play make in the East, Russell Westbrook and Ben Simmons in the East, when do they play the Nets? When do they play the Nets? When do they play the Celtics? When do they play the Heat? I'm here for this. And so if I'm Daryl Morey with Doc Rivers, I try to find a way to parlay Embiid. People are going to be saying Simmons, but he's healthier. Embiid has had an injury issue. He can't really practice every game. He's going to have load management, but he's an all-NBA talent. Anybody wants Joel Embiid on their team. And so if I'm Morey, that's what I'm considering doing.
Very interesting. So you're considering an Embiid for Westbrook trade. And one thing that's interesting about Embiid, which is not necessarily in lockstep with Daryl Morey's basketball ethos, is Embiid scores a lot out of the post. They post him up a lot. And as you notice in the NBA, especially a Daryl Morey team, not a lot of post-ups, a lot more pick and rolls. And a Westbrook-Simmons duo would certainly lend itself to more of a Daryl Morey style basketball that I'm sure Doc Rivers would be happy with. But one thing you have to remember with Daryl Morey in this role, along with Elton Brand, is if you look at the contracts that the Philadelphia 76ers have committed to already with their big four players, they are tied up. They look at all this money that they have tied up over the next 3 seasons. Those are big numbers. Al Horford is making $27 million. So Daryl Morey, in order to really make an impact on the roster, is going to have to try to get off one of these. And Embiid to Houston for Westbrook would certainly be interesting. However, if I'm Houston and I see Daryl Morey's phone come up on my phone, I'm not answering the phone call because I've spent the last 10 years watching him make trades on my behalf and try to rip off other teams and get undervalued players. I'm not going to allow him to do the same thing to me that he has just done for me. There is also some news for those Houston Rockets. They now have a head coach, and that comes in the form of Stephen Silas. Jalen, what does Stephen Silas' hire tell you about the Rocket situation?
I'm happy for him, and he did a terrific job as the assistant with the Mavs. Look at players like Luka Doncic as a young point guard that has basically established himself as a top 10 player in the game. And when you watch the Mavs actually play, when you look deeper into their team, it's like, wait a minute, Trey Burke wasn't in the league, and now he's balling in the bubble? Tim Hardaway Jr. is actually playing really well. And so that development that they've been able to do from within has a lot to do with his assistant coaching. And so he deserves an opportunity as a head coach. And now I believe he's going to play more traditional basketball, meaning how other teams are playing in today's game, pace and space, but not have a center that's 6'5". How about that?
We will certainly look to them to upgrade at that position. Love PJ Tucker, but he's probably more of a natural 4 than a 5.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.